Yes. So, so at the end of the session today, I also have some feedback questions, and we'll do it live and answer right away. So it's done, and you don't get like an irritating survey on an email, but we'll do it together. And today, let's share my screen. It's the final session. So I always have to put a cat in somewhere. So here it is, the poor security questionnaire cat. So I know that you all have experience with this kind of stuff. So today it's going to be all about how to manage those external questions and requirements in a way that can, if not end the discussion, at least shorten it, make it easier and faster to get through. I can of course not promise that you will never get questions again, but you can definitely make it easier for yourself. So we're going to go a little bit more into the statement of applicability, also called the SOA, that we have inside the application as well. And then the documentation package, which will be really easy now because you've done all the work. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about some results from a research project that we've had together with the IT University. And I think actually some of you have been part of that, giving an interview to that. There's some findings there that I think are interesting to share here. And then additional tips for how to build trust and avoiding those long discussions. The final homework, it's a really small thing. It's about the statement of applicability. And then the feedback. So when we look through the statement of applicability, you're going to see inside the application, I'm going to demo in just a second where it is if you're not sure. And you will have everything that you have created a policy for will have something either defined, implemented, or fully defined, partially implemented, or fully implemented. So if you see anything that's not applicable, those are the ones we want to have a look at. So if we go in here, so you have the whole list here, 93 controls. So this text here, the number and the text is directly from the standard. And then you have your implementation status, and you can write a note if you want to. And the way it's implemented is described in one or more policies. Okay, so yours should look something like this. Maybe you have changed some of this to implemented. If you change the status here, it's going to affect all the related policies. In this case, only one. You can also go in from the policy and change the status in there, and then it will show up under here. So in case you have two policies that both talk about this control, you can change it on the policy level, or you can change the control to affect both policies. Okay, so this status is calculated based on these. So it will take the minimum, so to speak. So if one is only defined, then it's going to say, okay, the control is only defined, it hasn't been fully implemented. And if I change it to implemented, it's like this. If for some reason you say we are not talking about this control at all in this policy, so it's not applicable, it's not going to affect the overall status. It's sort of a neutral thing here. Okay, but what you want to focus on, because you've already written your policies, so this part should be should be okay. And if you don't have any gaps, if everything you said in your policy is also implemented in reality, so you don't have lines in your risk assessment or anywhere else, then you will simply say it's implemented on all the policies, and then all the controls that are related to that policy will also be implemented. So what you want to do is simply find all the ones that say not applicable. And if you agree that it's not applicable to you, write a little note. We don't have information security concerns in projects. That could be one thing you could write, or you could write information security is built into project management. So this is, instead of writing a whole policy, you just write a little note, because it's really, there's really nothing to say. So find all the ones that are gray. And for example, secure areas, that's an interesting one. If you don't have like a factory or some special, you do something very, very secret where you have a secure area, you don't have secure areas, so you just write, we don't have any secure areas. And then you have justified why it's not applicable. We don't have that. Okay, so you might be asking yourself now, well, how do I know, just based on this headline, whether this is applicable to me or not, working in secure areas? Okay, here's some examples of what you can actually write. So sometimes it is relevant, like physical entry control, but it's just we have a lock on the door. So that doesn't require a full policy. So if you're not sure what this means, there's a really nice place to look up here. So the first link here will give you just a list that is exactly the same as in the standard. So it has the headline and then a little bit more. Sometimes that's enough. If not, then you go to the next one, where you can find a full explanation of every single one of these. So, for example, yeah. So you'll have the whole explanation of what it is and how you can secure this. Okay. Do we have any questions on this before I continue? You basically just want to check all the gray ones if you agree that they are not applicable or if they actually are applicable to you.
So what if they are applicable?
Yeah, okay. So then you simply, like in this example, so let's say this one is applicable, then you write a little note on how is it actually implemented, and then you just change the status. So let's say we do actually have an office, and we have a lock and access cards. And if you want to instead link it up to an existing policy, that's going to be possible as well very soon. That's a little thing missing in right now, but if you go in here and look, so let's say, so we have linked them up. So most of the controls are already linked up on policies, but some of them are not. And if you disagree and you would rather put it into a policy, you will be able to, go into edits up here, and in the control list, add one of the controls here. It's just missing right now, but it will be there very soon. I'll tell you when it's ready. Does that make sense? Yes. But you have like almost all of them already linked up. I think it's something like 15 that are not linked up, either because they're really rarely used, like the secure loading area, or we somehow thought it was, clock synchronization is also rarely used. But if it is used for you, or you find it that you like it better to link it up to a policy and just write the note in the policy, you can do that instead. Just make sure you check if you agree that they're not applicable. So you don't have something here where you're like, oh, actually, this is relevant for us. Yeah. Any more questions for this? Okay. So now we come to the fun part here. Documentation package. Okay, so it's really simple. You download all your policies, and then maybe you want to make a front page that just says, okay, we have implemented ISMS in accordance with this standard, and this is what we share, the statement of applicability, and all of these policies and procedures. And this is a list of everything that you have in there, 25. So this is how simple you can do it, and either just have a zip file, send in an email, or put it in a cloud folder and share that with someone who needs it. So that is how I would usually do it. And as you probably know already, you can download everything as a zip file here. And you can download statement of applicability with this one. So it will include, all the controls, and also in the bottom here, you have the clauses, which are mandatory for the ISO standard. So these are all linked up to your policies already. Okay. And of course, if you have put anything in your policies that you're not comfortable sharing with external people, then exclude those from your list. Usually I would be fine sharing the policies because they're pretty high level principles. They don't contain personal data. They don't contain any like very sensitive information. I would not share the risk assessment with an external party unless they are an auditor or they have an NDA. So don't share your records, your risk assessment, but the policies I would usually be fine with sharing those. But you have to make your own judgment if you're comfortable sharing your policies with whoever is asking for it. Okay. So a little bit about this research study about how small companies demonstrate security. So any questions to the information package before I move on? I'm going to say a little bit more about it actually in here, but I want to check. Okay. So this is a small qualitative research study where they did like 15 interviews with small companies, and the findings were there are 6 ways to demonstrate and assess security and basically build trust. So certifications, and I would say under certifications is like compliance, but without the actual certification. It's sort of the same box here. Then security questionnaires can be used, and reports such as penetration test. So someone external have looked and made a penetration test or some kind of an audit report. Then you can have security requirements in contracts. This is also often used. Here you sort of put trust in, okay, if things go wrong, I have whole system that I trust, that I can come after you and get some compensation. Usually, so this can become a pretty big headache if you have a lot of different contracts and each of them have different requirements. You have to keep track on what you promise in all of these different contracts. Interactive sessions are also used where you have a session with this external party and they ask, either just ask questions, so it's sort of a conversation about your security practices, or it can be actually, okay, open this system and show me your code or show me some access log or whatever it would be. So kind of like an in-person audit. And then social proof, meaning you can have on your website a reference customer. So, okay, we have sold our system to Novo Nordisk. They're a big customer. They assessed our security and they are happy with us. So that's a social proof. Or it can be to put your security program and any kind of external validation you have, put that on your website. I'll show you some cool examples of that. So this can be used, well, you also use it to assess others, like Google, did they have any breaches? That's also social proof. If you Google LastPass, you can see they've had 2 breaches in the last 10 years or so. So that's also a social proof. So you can use it yourself to assess someone else, like LastPass, and others can use it to assess you if you had, if you put some things on your website, for example, or you give a reference to a customer who's already done an assessment of you. So those are 6 different ways. And a quote here from the study is that proactively sharing security policies takes away 90% of the discussion. So that's what we are preparing here, to proactively share the policies so that they can see you're already on top of this and takes away 90% of the questions. That's kind of the aim. But there's also how you're doing things, how you're being when you do this. So one thing is what you're doing, but there's also how you are doing it. So what are they meeting when they meet you? So there's be prepared, have the documentation ready instead of waiting to be asked, and being proactive. So don't wait for all the questions, share the policies, and maybe have an FAQ with the most asked questions. That's another tip, is to actually fill out an open source security questionnaire that I'll show you. So be prepared, be proactive, be transparent, for example, writing about your program on your website, and take charge. So, don't wait for them to pull you in, but say, hey, we have a process here and this is how we do it. That also helps a lot with setting the tone in the discussion. So, so the social proof part, I've seen some good examples of putting up a security page on your website, because everybody who's going to talk to you, they're going to check out your website and they're going to see, okay, what you write about yourself and about security there. If you have any reference customers, like big customers already approved you as a data processor, it's very good to put those up, but also simply your security program. So there's, I'm going to show you this one that's pretty advanced, and then we have a simpler one as well. So they simply have a whole page with trust and security. Here they have their reference customers. Mural is trusted by security program. So it's like the marketing version of what you've been working on. So just putting up, okay, this is what we're doing. And here you can see more policy, certifications, status and quality, privacy. So they have a lot here. And see, we comply with GDPR. Okay, so here they have SOC 2 and they have ISO certifications. So you can probably see, let's see what they have here. Okay, you cannot click this. So they just put it up so you can see everything. And let's have a look at the other one. This is a Danish company. Security programs. So here we are compliant, so they're not certified yet. Using the SIS controls. We are in EU. That's also a good thing to write EU data residency. That is still also good if you're selling to EU customers. GDPR. VSA Core, that's the open source security questionnaire I'm going to show you. And penetration test. So here it's a little bit simpler. A little bit more, here's more information, more like text. So they go through like a short version of their security policy in a way. So that's a way to build the social proof. And so people can prepare themselves before they even meet your security policies. And then the VSA questionnaire, Vendor Security Alliance. This is, if you get a lot of security questionnaires, even after you've prepared all the documentation, or if you know that this is something they still want to do, it can pay off to fill out this open source questionnaire. So it's basically, yeah, it's a security questionnaire, but you fill it out before you meet their security questionnaire. And then you give them that and say, we've already done a security questionnaire. Everything should be in there. And here are all our policies. So you share that with the policies. And then say, okay, and if anything is not already covered, then come back and we will answer that as well. So I would only do this if it turns out that it's not enough with the policies. I would wait a little bit and see, is this going to be enough? Or am I still getting these questionnaires? And if I still get the questionnaires, I would definitely go and fill this out. So you can go to this page and download it. And there are two versions. There's a core and a full one. And the core is, I would say, enough. I'll send it to you in the email as well. You can just have a look at it.
But it is not something that the tool is generating.
I love the question, because that's one of the things that we actually want to do. To fill it out automatically after you've put in all your policies, simply draw out. Mm-hmm. That's on our list. Okay. So yes, please put it in the feedback. Okay.
Maybe you can ask ChatGPT to fill it out based on your policies.
The plan is to have a chat function that you can ask questions and then use that to give it a Excel sheet and then fill everything out. So there's like a two-step thing. Yeah, exactly. ChatGPT is actually pretty good at finding that information. Okay, this is great. Co-creating new features here on the go. So the trust formula. This is a fancy name I made up for this. It's what you're doing, but also how you're doing it. So what you're doing is start with your compliance documentation package, meaning all your policies and your SOA. Give them that and offer an interactive session if they have follow-up questions. That would be, this is how I would start. Here's all the documentation. Let's have a call if you have any follow-up questions. And add more elements as needed. So the social proof on the website can be a really good thing to have. And the VSA, if they still come with questionnaires. And of course, contracts, that's a complicated negotiation, but one thing that I've seen is definitely try to be compensated for any security requirements. So this might not be you personally doing this, but the people that are doing the contract negotiation should be really aware that security comes with a price. So if you have customers that are insisting on doing a penetration test, or they want to be able to come and do an audit on you, or they insist that you get certified, make sure that you have a conversation, or the people who have that contract negotiation, they have a conversation about the price of that, because it's not free to get those things. So it can sometimes be necessary, but then just make sure that you also get compensated. And 5, external penetration test. It can add value, of course, to your own peace of mind that someone else has tried to do this, but also the social proof you can put on your website that you're using this. And often I've seen this in contract requirements as well, that they want a penetration test done. And you can actually, so a full penetration test where you get a company to do this according to some framework, that can cost some money. I've seen prices like 40,000-50,000 Danish crowns. But you can also use some of these bounty hunting programs that can be a lot cheaper to start with. Simply get some white hat hackers to try things out, and if they find something, they get a little bonus. And there's some people that find this kind of a fun hobby they have. So that can be a way to get started with a small budget. Just make sure you trust the people that you are dealing with. Okay, so that's what you're doing, but then again, how you're being really makes a big difference as well. So how you show up in this process. So being prepared, have everything ready for them, the documentation package, and like this is how we share it. No, you cannot get it in an email. We only share it on a link. We don't send it an email, or the other way around. If whatever you have decided to do, just stick with that and say this is our policy. So they can also feel that there's a little bit of a firm wall here. We have a policy and we follow it. So here's how we do it. Then you show them also, you know, how to follow your policy, your own policy. Being proactive. So don't ask them, don't wait for them to ask. Give them this upfront, you know, first meeting. So when whoever it is having those first meetings, make sure they say, look, we have security documentation prepared. So when your security or compliance person is asking, this is what we have, just so you know. Don't come with your questionnaires. Yeah, and transparency, don't try to pretend you have something you have not, but just make sure that you also show what you have and take charge of the process. So any questions or comments about this stuff? Does it make sense? It really works to come with confidence in this. That's what I can tell you. And if it wanted to shift, that would be nice. Okay. Feedback time. Okay, now I have something really fun for us. Okay, now you need to get active here. I have a couple of these slides, and then I have a few questions in a Google form. So we're going to start here with, if I could find out to present it. Yes. Okay, so if you go in a browser or phone or something to menti.com and then put in this code. Oh, I can also put a link in the chat. If I can find the chat, here it is. So here you can just write whatever you want, and we can see, and it's anonymous. We cannot see who wrote it. Typebox closed. Yes. Emojis. Yes. The cat memes, yes.
You can only put in one thing, or
I think you can put in more. I think you can put as many as you want.
No, I'm also getting the same problem.
Oh, how irritating is that? Yeah.
it works if you refresh the page.
Ah, okay. You can put in more if you refresh. Interesting. I don't think I can change anything here.
Ah, no, you can't. It says I already entered.
Oh, oh no. I thought I was supposed to open-ended. Yeah, I don't think I can change any of that. Okay. Well, if you have some more, just put them in the chat. I'll copy them, please. I should have some music for this actually. Play some. Okay. When you're done, can you put a thumbs up? Then I know we're done. Okay, it looks like we're done with this one. And ideas for how the bootcamp could be improved.
Bootcamp or product?
Yeah, the bootcamp. I'm gonna come. So product and features. I have a different one in a second. So just a bootcamp. No, that's fine. Is that because you're on vacation?
It's probably more like so. I found it difficult to keep up with the homework next to my normal work tasks. And you could say in any case we have some work to do before we would even consider and requesting an auditor. So it would not have it wouldn't have been a downside for me to have it like every 2 weeks, for example.
Okay.
But it hasn't been a huge issue. It's also nice to get it done.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you also want to keep momentum. So every 2 weeks, it's like, oh, was it this week? Or yeah, I understand.
I think possibly it maybe also was. So there was one session where we like had to go through all these policy template wizards, and the one with the risk assessment. I think those two were the toughest ones on preparation.
Yeah.
So the risk assessment took a long time, and the preparing all the policies, the round. There was an initial round with a few policies, and then there was the whole shitload of
Yes,
tasks.
we started easy, and then
also...
yeah, true, yeah. So a little bit more time for those bigger ones somehow. Okay, and conversation about the main policies.
I think maybe that was more the fact to there's some of those that are a little more important, and well, how do you see those things? I guess I missed a few meetings, but yeah, there are some of them that is probably a little more broad in the perspective and could be interesting to work on.
Okay.
Or cover in more details about how to think of these things, because it's one thing just to go through and say, okay, this is accepted, versus how do we get to implement these things in some scenario.
Okay. If you have some specific ones, it would be really helpful for me to know.
Okay. Yeah.
Which ones you're thinking about.
Okay.
Okay, the text editor is a bit clumsy, especially when coming back to existing policies. Yes, okay. It has been very tricky to implement, I can tell you. More cat memes. Okay, so the policy text editor and existing policies is clumsy.
I also had troubles with it, both copying text from the editor and pasting it in elsewhere. It didn't catch all the formatting, and also the other way around. When pasting text in, a lot of formatting were lost.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, formatting is, okay, I'm gonna make a note on that. And more cat memes. Instead of the juice, you want cat memes. Okay, great. So let's move on to this Zoom thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna share a link in the chat to a Google form. And it's only like 5 questions or so. Not sure I have any cat memes in here, but I do have some funny pictures.
So I guess the recommendation is for others in your target group, right? Not my mom.
Oh, yeah, I think probably yes. Not your mom.
Because I think
someone who,
a lot of my friends would not care much about this.
Okay, good point. A relevant friend or colleague.
I would probably also have moved around and having the strong agree at the top instead of the strong disagree.
What here?
No, next. Or use a slider or something like that. 1, 2, 3.
This one?
Yeah, because now I was yeah, if I look at it, I'll just strongly disagree on these things instead of as the default thing.
Oh. So I should put strongly agree on top. Is that's your recommendation?
Have it vertical
Hmm.
or horizontal. So it's yeah, the same. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess another thing on the features. So there's a lot of tools and techniques that could be relevant in this. What good tools do you see in the market that would serve, well, SMBs good in these areas? So, for instance, is it Active Directory? There was something on the asset management. What are the different options that would be good to have in such a scenario?
Yes, so like relevant point solutions for different
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely something on our radar that, you know, we often get this question, like what's a good password manager? Which one should we use, for example? Or what's
My scanner and yeah.
Exactly, penetration test the company or yeah. So we should have a little list of different options and pros and cons. Oh, 2 responses.
So I will admit to stating that it was not particularly fun to use, but I'm not sure you can do much about that.
More cat memes.
There's just a certain limit to how fun I would find these type of tasks.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
think you made it as fun as it could be.
Fair enough, but that's the best we can hope for. Okay.
Yeah, I think having the bootcamp makes it a lot easier to go through and figure out, okay, this is actually something that I need to keep up with. And I don't know if the timing between the session is okay, but I think it really makes it easier to be able to go through or pushes you to cover these things, because it is really boring. But I guess the faster you go through the boring part, the faster you can get to go to some of the different things. I think the part that may be missing, and maybe that's what I'll learn when using the platform more, is about this link, the statement of applicability, and how do we link all of these different things and make sure that we have the right controls in place. But I guess this is also an evolution of our usage of the platform.
Yeah, well, you should when you fill out your policies, that covers the controls.
Mhm.
So that's sort of how you implement the controls.
Yeah.
Is someone still responding, or will I only get 3 responses?
I don't know. I'm done.
Okay. Everyone who wanted to respond, have they responded? Oh, okay. That got me one more. Great. Okay. Do you think it's interesting to see the responses?
Sure.
Okay, half. Fun to use. It's sort of in the middle. That's the best we can hope for, I think. Makes my life easier. Policy wizards. Okay, so the features we have now are must or important. That's good. Training module, tracking of promises made when, yeah, okay, so this is the one about the gaps if you have like one-offs.
Mhm.
And by training module, I just I want to understand, is it like the basic awareness training, or is it training in the like policy habit?
The awareness training we send out.
Yeah, okay, so that basic awareness training.
It's
Yeah,
just
so we
if
could
you
get
if
the
I
check
hadn't
mark that people have done these things or whatever in one platform.
Yeah, so that API integration or getting it into the platform itself.
Yeah.
But actually, the integration would be nice to have for me. It was just that I had a training module that I could use, because otherwise I would have to engage with some other vendor to find such a training module.
Yes, that makes sense. And new features.
And I
Yes.
would say, as compared to training modules, I have taken at some of our clients, because it was required from us. I actually think yours is better. So
Really? Oh, thank you. Okay, so we should just use that one and then make the API integration.
exactly.
That's great. That's great to hear. Okay, habit surveys. This is actually coming very soon. We are finishing it right now. So you can send out surveys on the policy habits that you've defined to see how well it's actually working. So this is, okay, so a lot of people think this is only nice to have. Interesting. Notification, yes.
I can elaborate on my nice to have answer if you
please.
want. So I said nice to have because I don't, and maybe I misunderstood, but it is not required by the audit or the policies, right?
Yeah.
So as long as they have the yearly training, that would be fine.
Okay. Yeah. So it's very much the focus of what's required for audits. Got it. That makes sense. And the AI chat to answer questions. It's also on this level. Yeah, so here the idea is also it can be used for an auditor if they have questions. You can just put their questions in and take them out instead of looking through the policies. And general knowledge base.
How have you considered building this just from question?
We are going to use OpenAI API for that.
Okay.
And then there will be like a big warning, you're now going to send your policy data to OpenAI. So that's our idea.
Has anyone tested? So I guess you could, for your own policies, you could get Google Gemini or something to report on that already, right? I don't know if anyone have tested that.
I don't know how that works.
Mm.
Google Gemini, I'll check
So
that out.
they have. I'm not sure it's only in the States, but if you have Google Workspace, they will sort of give you your own custom GPT engine on top of your Mails, Drive, whatever, right? So that would also have access to your policies if you downloaded them.
Okay. So that could be another thing to test, Google Gemini. Thanks. And risk assessments. Yes, that one is more higher up. Automated audit reports. Important. Okay. Tailored to company size and tools. Makes sense. Removes the confetti. Someone didn't like the confetti, but more cat memes. Okay. Tailored example policies. So what does that mean? Tailored example policies, is that tailored to what?
Oh, that would be that each time there is a policy segment that you can copy paste it over to the editor where you wanna change it. It would be nice if the example was tailored to the company setup instead of just being a random policy for. Usually, I sense that it was for big corporations. A lot of things in the examples were not really applicable to us, and yeah, we spent a lot of time with those small bits that didn't match.
Okay, yeah. It's actually tailored to like 50-person company. So yeah, bigger than you guys. Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe you could do something simple like just how large is your company? What is your industry? Maybe that's just IT in this case. And what tools are you using, like Office 365 or Google Workspace?
Yeah. Cool. Good job. Thank you.
And I guess that if you're doing something, then that would probably also be the place where you could put the AI in.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tailor maybe also tone of voice with AI as well. So how formal do you like it, or how informal? Okay. So actually, this is interesting. So just better policy is mostly the feedback here. Well, thank you so much. And I guess, yeah, the only thing left for me to say is, well, there are new features coming soon. Unfortunately, not the most important ones that you were waiting for, but maybe you want to try them out anyways. And I'm going to follow up with you in like a month's time or so and just check in how you're doing. Have you tried out the proactive sharing of your policy? Has it been relevant? And just, if any questions have come up in the meantime, we can have a little chat. I'll just send an email, and then if you need to have a chat with me, we can set that up in a month's time. Just want to make sure that you're all good.
If you have clients already that have been through this and subsequently through a certification, I would also be very interested to hear about that if they want to share that process.
Yes,
that could be an interesting workshop. I think if you had someone who had been certified who would like to share some more about how had that process worked based on the Cyberduce platform and the documentation produced, and what feedback did they get from the auditor?
Yes,
just an idea for a future workshop or meeting or something. Knowledge sharing.
That's a really great idea. I do have someone who got certified using all the example policies, but before the platform was actually built, but it's the same information. So basically the same process. So I could probably ask them. And they're that size, like 40, 50 people. So yeah, great idea. Okay, anything else, or is it's goodbye? Oh no. Okay, it was really great fun to spend time with you, and thank you so much for good energy and great questions, or for showing up every time, and being the first brave participants on this bootcamp concepts. I hope you want to actually, send other people here. We're going to run it again from April 10th. Same program with your feedback, of course. It might be a little bit better. But yeah, please refer anyone who you think could be interested, not your mom. Okay, see you around. And as always, if there's anything, just shoot me an email and take it from there. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.